What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Comeback Couples Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Jennison, with
Kendra Jennison.
And I got glasses on.
You look hot.
Yeah, I know. Sweaty.
You always say that joke.
It's my favorite dad joke. I mean, it's not a dad joke, it's a bad joke. Or is a bad joke a dad joke? I'm not sure.
It's both.
Which brings me to the topic this week. Let me just pull it up here. I text Ryan. Podcast topic for today is you have no right telling your kids to chase their dreams when you don't chase yours. And I also want to dive into the difference between dreams, goals, standards, and expectations. And they do not have to be in that order, but I want to differentiate to the how they all coincide to build something.
Sure.
Right? But the topic that I wanted to talk about is you have no right telling your kids to chase their dreams when you don't chase yours. When I say that, because I gave you a little bit of heads up on this one, I actually put some thought into it.
You did.
What did you think when you first heard me say that? Where do you think it came from? This is like a fun game we could play.
Yeah. So the first thing I thought of was, in my mind, I was like, okay, I agree with that. I know this to be true. And then I thought, oh, crap. What are my dreams right now? Am I doing what I need to be doing so that way my kids can fulfill their dreams? So that's
really what you thought?
That was literally my first. It was kind of like a self-check to myself. I was like, oh, damn.
Can't just show up here and lie.
I can't. No, I know. Yeah. So I thought to myself, damn, do my kids even know what my dreams are right now? Or am I showing them through what I want in life? Because,
I would say yes, because of the situations that we came across the other day, right? Like, we're about to, 2023 was a fucking cyclone and this explosion of just chaos, yet at the same time brought the most clarity ever.
Definitely.
Right? So I've never stopped dreaming, but amidst my dreams and chasing goals and setting standards, having expectations of myself, I was like a typhoon of just terror, if you will. And I would say that our dreams and even our goals, which we'll talk about here in a minute, but our dreams are really just to travel the world. Like if I had to break it down to what my dream is with you, is to be able to travel all those cool places that I send you on Instagram. Like I want to be in every single one of those with you. Like that's a dream, yet it can also be a goal. In order to get there, right, I've got to have some standards and expectations for myself. But I would say that the kids know that because of the changes that we made recently here with like, you know what, fuck it.
Yeah.
We want to be the main characters in our life.
That's a good point. I had that conversation with Jade and Phoenix when we were talking about the house and how I told them that, we're going to put that on hold for, either indefinitely or just for right now. And they were kind of like, what the heck? You and Dad always do this. And I was like, I know. I said, but here's the thing. I said, although Dad and I do a great job of doing everything you kids want, I said, Dad and I got together because this is our dream. I said, maybe when you kids grow up and you want a big mansion and you want 15 bedrooms and I said, that's you, great. You can have that. I said, but what Dad and I want is to travel the world, to have as many experiences and to laugh and to love and to raise you kids. Like that is our dream and to do a phenomenal job at it. However that is, And so it was a good, I think, eye-opener for the two oldest to hear, okay, yeah, we know that Mom and Dad always talk about traveling. They always talk about, where are we taking them? We're taking them to Hawaii. We're going to take them on a...
Yeah, we literally just booked a badass trip to Hawaii for everybody.
Yes. And then I want to take them, I'm talking to a gentleman right now about that fly in, fly out at Alaska. He's going to call me tomorrow. Then we're going to Costa Rica. I said, all of these things.
California in 2 weeks.
California in 2 weeks. And I'm telling these kids, I said, all of that for Dad and I trumps having a big ass mansion. I said, yeah, is it cool? Sure. But for who? Who is it cool for? Because to Dad and I, the farmhouse is just as equally as amazing. So
it needs to be a little nicer and a little better. But let me tell you what it was for me.
Yeah.
Was when I looked at how hard I so I'll get into the intensity that I want to bring to this here in a couple minutes, but I looked at, number one, how hard I work every day, the freedom and the space I've been able to create already, how I want to become a high-ticket king. My dream is to be a high-ticket king, and what I mean by that is only talk to kings, other multi-millionaires and billionaires, and I literally want to be a coach, the number one premier high performing alcohol coach in the world, building my own brand. And I want to sit on top of this mountain, yet the mountain isn't the home that I sit in, because the reality is I don't even want to fucking be in my home.
Yeah, you want to be gone everywhere.
I'm up and gone. I mean, 4 a.m. Like, even when it's cold outside, I don't want to be home, right? So I had this thought that I'm looking at time, and this is where this came from, as I'm sure you know, is that my number one arch nemesis in my life is time.
Yep.
And I struggle with time.
You do struggle with it.
Because I've also accepted the fact that I fully believe and I'm aware that there's something after this, which has made it easier for me to understand that, okay, maybe, time is infinite and you'll be able to keep going into the next. You've experienced and felt different things through your journeys and plant medicine work. But so it made it a little bit easier on time. But the reality is that doesn't change the world that we live in right now.
Currently.
So when we look at building this house out, I'm like, dang, yeah, it's exciting. I want it. I can do it and I have it. I'm like, but I'm going to give up 3 years.
3 years.
Of our son's life. The girls would be okay because they would just be right where he's at right now, but he's gone.
Yeah, he'll literally be gone.
So then I'm going to save a shitload of money or pour a bunch of money into a house, continue to work to be this king, which, and no matter any way I want to look at it, it's going to cause me to just have this pent up rage to not be able to move freely around the country and chase my fucking dreams because I need to build this house when I don't even want to sit inside of the house. What I'm really after is a badass backyard with a pool, right? A shooting range, which you already have, a pond, like all the things I want, I can just build, and I can honestly do them myself.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how to build a pool, but Ryan's got a guy that's going to put his contract, but like everything I want can be done shorter. Mm-hmm. That was number one. Then I'm like, dude, you're going to trade another 3 years. When I look back at my life, you wasted, meaning me, 21 years in a self-induced alcohol coma and drug coma. Mm-hmm. I can never get back those 21 years. Sure, I wouldn't trade them for the world. I love the fact that like every struggle, every pain made us, but I can't get that time back. And then I traded after that, coming back for, however many years to get myself back to zero, and then built something. And now I've traded my time to give to other people. Like, when is it our time? When is it my time?
Right.
When do I stop battling this time? Mm-hmm. And my dream is obviously to have my words be immortal. That's one of my goals. But my dream is to travel the world and do the things. I'm like, wait a minute, dude, you need to be the main character in your life.
Yep.
And this was from one of Phoenix's little buddies, because Phoenix obviously must try to be the main character in all their groups, right? He's the man, handsome, good looking, all these things, and good athlete. And not last night he played that crap, but anyways, that's a whole nother conversation I'm gonna get into.
We don't need to go into that.
But we're going into it. But I share this with you because when that little boy said, be the main, you don't have to always be the main character. Yes, you do. Mm-hmm. I need to be the main character in my life. You need to be the main character in your life. We need to be the main character in our life. Ryan needs to be the main character in his life, right? When you start looking at yourself from a place of where like your dreams and who you are matter to you. Mm-hmm. So when I looked at that, I'm like, wait a minute, I want to travel. I want to be at this, I want to feel this certain type of way. And then the other thing is like, man, I don't want to dump all the money that I make into a fucking house. I like the space and the freedom of my money making money and us knowing that we got plenty of money just to do whatever the fuck we want to do.
Yep.
But that wasn't where I was going with this topic. That was fun.
That was great.
It was great to talk about it. But how dare you? I'm not talking about you. I was watching some parents at the basketball game. Fat as fuck. Overweight. Screaming at their kids. Mm-hmm. Right? To do this, to do that in basketball. To do that, right? But you can't even fucking get yourself in shape. And I looked at it and it actually angered me because I'm like, how do you, because I found myself yelling at Phoenix.
Yeah, you did too.
But I chased my fucking dreams.
Right.
Every day. And I walk around, you can tell the way that I hold myself, what I've built, the results. I have results to prove it. I'm not walking around 180 pounds over fucking weight.
Right.
I'm not talking about somebody who's a couple pounds overweight and gets up every day and works and still does the right thing. I'm talking about somebody, I'm picking picture of this one guy. He's slobby and his ass cracks hanging out. You're going to yell at your kid because he didn't dive for the ball, but you can't even bend over to wipe your ass.
Right.
How dare you tell someone when you look in the mirror and you're not even playing your fucking life. You're not being the main character for your life. And when I hit it, I was like, damn. At what point, I ask myself this often, like at what point does an individual determine that they're going to check out on life? And then when do you have the balls and the audacity to take the very kids that you created in this world who are watching the things that you do and push them to be great when you are nothing more than a mere shell of what's possible?
Yep.
And there was a frustration in there.
There was for you yesterday, for sure.
And then we'll go over to Phoenix, right? And talk about our son. I pour everything I have into my family. I go to bed at night frustrated because I'm not a good enough dad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you say I'm one of the best dads that you could ever have.
I tell you that all the time. Especially, I told you yesterday, actually. Because you were so hard on yourself.
Dreams, goals, standards, expectations. Right? Why that's important to me when I lay down every night is because my dream, as much as it is to travel, my dream is to make these kids, and I'm never going to have another son. We're never having another kid. Phoenix has to carry on. He's got big fucking shoes to fill.
Yep.
My last name, me, the version of me, looking back at, it took grandma, I mentioned this to you yesterday, and I know I'm talking a lot on this podcast, but I went and I took my grandma shopping. Mm-hmm. And it was nice to spend time with her. I stacked about it this morning. It was nice to spend time with her. But it was a sheer reminder of where I'm from. Yep. As I looked around the house and I saw her counting and pinching pennies and it wasn't not because she doesn't have money, it's because of the mindset of where she's at. And I looked at this dream that I've been chasing. And I think back about, I even told her, not about the money, but I said, one thing I learned from my uncle is to always chase my dreams, no matter what it was like, right? He tried. He died early. He died at 43 or 44 years old. He made a dumb choice, drinking and riding on his motorcycle. But he never quit. If you would have met him, you'd be like, damn, he was fun. He was charismatic. And he just had this like vibrant energy about him that was just alive. And even though he didn't know how to do the things that I learned how to do, I learned from him, you should never, ever, ever stop chasing your dreams, that anything is possible.
Yeah.
He was trying to figure it out now, looking back. Like, he seems so much older than me, but he's my age now when he died. I'm like, damn. My point is this, though. As I'm watching all those and I'm seeing where I came from, and I paid for grandma's groceries, and it's not about that. Don't care about that. Like, I did it because it's the right thing to do because we're successful, and it's a small act of kindness. And I know I don't spend a lot of time with her, but it felt good to be there and to spend time with her. But I'm looking around her house and I'm looking around at the dust that's just piled up over in the corner, and the same house that I was a little baby in. And I'm like, damn, this is where I'm from. There's no reason for me to be where I'm at right now, specifically with the amount of fucking failure that I've faced in my life.
So I was going to add, it's kind of be the devil's advocate a little bit, because what you and I know as two very intelligent, capable parents is that, the work you put in, the positivity, the expectations, the standards that you hold for yourself, and kids are a product of what they see and what they repeatedly see and what they're like, that is for sure one way to allow your children to be successful in love, in their relationships, in life. That is one way for sure. But where I want to play the devil's advocate is kids who, the gentleman that we saw at the basketball court, completely grotesquely overweight, yelling at his child. His son, much like how you were raised, is probably not coming from the greatest standard of living, fair to say. Mm-hmm. That kid's going to look at his dad and he's going to think either one of two things. I don't want to be anything fucking like that man. I'm going to do the exact opposite of everything he's ever done, and that kid's going to be successful. Much like how you grew up, even though you only saw what you knew, and of course your uncle who played a great role in your life, but you saw exactly how you grew up and how hard it was and how you saw what else was out there, and you thought, I'm going to do the exact fucking opposite of what everyone in this family has ever taught me, which allowed you to be who you are today. So there's always, and it's like your life motto. There's always a choice. Mm-hmm. And thankfully, any kid I'm talking specifically just because I know which family parents you're talking about. And the kids, how do I word it? Because I don't want to be, the kids have a choice. You made a choice to be the exact opposite. That child made a choice, hopefully because he's a decent athlete, to be like, you know what? And those typically, the kids that come from all that really hard, dark, tough shit turn out to be serious warriors, you know? And I actually fear sometimes, not fear is not the right word, but do fear that because, and I've thought about it and we've talked about it, we hold our kids to such a high standard, which I would not have any other way. And you even said it last night. You're like, do we hold such a high standard for our children and expect so much out of them that they feel like they are never good enough?
Never enough.
You know? And so that's something that even though we have these high expectations, and like I said, we are going to be who we are. We're going to fill our kids with love and positivity, and we are going to be who we want our kids to be, right? That's just what you and I are going to do. I have to check ourselves sometimes, and our kids are still so young and moldable that I'm like, okay, you know what? They're not ever going to be me. They're not ever going to be you. So that, you know.
I don't ever want them to be me because if I'm being real with everybody, it's insanely.
It's tough.
Hard inside of my head.
Yeah. And
it's the best way to put it. I walk around with a smile on my face all the time. And
I know you
make
do.
some dad jokes over here, bad jokes, and I work hard, but man, it's painful.
Our kids could go one of two ways. They could, and this is because our kids could go one of two ways. They could see how fucking hard you work and how disciplined you are and the hours you put in and how crazy obsessive you are about everything. Our kids can either do one of two things, and maybe more if I actually sat down and thought about it deeper, but they're going to say, wow, I saw what dad did. I don't ever want to fucking be like that. I want to just live a normal, simple life. They could think that, or they could be like, my dad was fucking awesome. Everything he did with the highest standard, and it was and I want to be just like that. It could go one of two ways, right? So there is always that, and I don't know what it is. I don't know where that fits in life. Right. But it could go that way. And so while I agree wholeheartedly that yes, you need to be the standard, and how dare you fucking tell your kids to chase your dreams if you're not doing it yourself, because kids are definitely taught by what they see day in and day out. Right?
Yeah. It goes back to what you just said a couple of minutes ago, but even about my message, it's a choice. And here I sit sometimes wondering, like, the expectations in this. Here's my dream. Yeah. I set my dream to change the world. Yep. Right. There's our dreams, then there's my dream, which is to literally make I'm a comeback, and my word's immortal. Every fucking household knows it. No different than AA, but only serve the highest kings and queens in the world and create a massive abundance for everyone alongside me. Yeah. That's massive. It. That's my dream. Inside of my goals, there's yearly, there's monthly, right? There's yearly, quarterly, monthly, daily, sometimes down to the minute goals that I'm pushing every single day. And then there's standards that I need to live by and adhere by every day to create those goals. Yep. Which my standard is to play all the way in, to have unwavering confidence, to continue the self-development in the path that I'm on every day, to hold myself and do what the fuck I said I'm going to do. Yeah. And then there's expectations, and the expectation is directly derived to the dream, and is that I must chase my dream and make everybody who's around me better and to see it. Yes. And I expect that. And when I did it last night, having this conversation where this came from watching this person, then there's me, and I guarantee you this dude's like, I got to watch this game. And I could be wrong, right? But like, I don't know what he's thinking, but like, such small thinking. I got this massive thinking. I got this excitement that's just radiating through me, and I start getting angry. I mean, I was intense on the way home, and when I looked at Phoenix, I'm like, there's a choice. Literally, Like how Moses part of the Red Seas, choices. Like, do I say something here to him?
Right.
Or do I let it be because I don't want to be too hard on him?
So and I, of course, I've said it hundreds of times.
And I made the choice to say something.
Yes. And I agree with saying something. So.
Which, by the way.
Again.
I got a message in the group that's like, hey, parents, tough 2 games last night. And that's the problem with society.
Yeah.
You don't you need to tell the truth. You fucking suck.
So this is what I was going to say. So although I just went down when I gave my 2 cents about, playing the devil's advocate, and there is always 2 sides, and our kids could see your life and my life, and they could decide that they don't fucking want that, or they could see the expectation that we have for our kids is slightly higher than most people, I would venture to say. But never do we not allow our kids to have bad days and to fail. I think the key and the secret to, and I don't know, because I'm a live action through it all right now with the kids, is the standards that you and I have, we place on our children because this is how we are raising them. We expect more of them. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't ever want it to get to the point where they're, like I said, where they get to the point where they're just like, oh my God, my parents expected so much of me, I'm never good enough. So having that awareness and that conscious thought, I think is major key.
Absolutely.
But where people potentially get it wrong and where I don't want to get it wrong, well, who's to say I won't, but either way, is showing our kids what it means to have goals and dreams, and whatever theirs are, to support them in that and to show them like, all right, this is your dream, like your lifelong dream is this. Here's the mini goals that you have to hit in order to get that. I think it's one thing to just tell your kids, which is the whole basis of this podcast, is how dare you not chase your dreams and tell your kids they got to chase theirs. Sure, parents, but they're not giving the kids the freaking tools to do it. Okay, what are the goals? What are your little goals that are going to help you get to your dreams? And in between all those little moments of the expectations and their goals that they're hitting and whatever their dreams are is the confidence that they're building. Because if one thing I know for sure that our kids can get out of is that dad had the balls and the confidence in himself to go after whatever he wants. So just maybe I can do that too. Like my dad didn't give, how many times do you hear our kids say, my dad just does not give a crap about anything and he's going to do it his way. That's awesome. That's awesome that our kids see that and hear that. It can be intimidating for them because how many times do we also hear Jade specifically who's like, well, I'm not like dad. That's great. You don't have to be like dad. You don't have to be, but what is your dream, Jade? What's your goals? Right now, even if or Bailey, who's squirrely, and Phoenix, who's, a teenager and trying to figure it out, whatever their goals and dreams are right now. All right, so let's start inching you guys towards that. Let's start helping. I feel like that's the main component for kids, and we're talking kids right now, and maybe you could talk about it into adults, but yeah, that's the key piece that people miss, is, okay, what are your goals? What are your dreams? All right, let me allow you to help you get there. Let me show you. And then once kids start hitting it, it's on their terms. It's in their way. It's their dream. They get their confidence. It's not.
So I don't know where or what I saw or if it's something I imagined, but it was Kanye West. And it was, I don't even know maybe it was a video on Instagram. I don't fucking know where this came from, but he was talking back up. It was older, but he's talking about a little kid jumping on the coffee table. Mm-hmm. Did you know this? Mm-hmm. And then they yell at him, right? In the kid's mind, he's trying to be a superhero.
Yeah.
And he's on top of the world. That coffee table is.
He's going to jump off of it.
He's going to jump off the building, and he's got his cape on. Yep. And then his parents like, no, don't jump off that coffee table. Well, why? Yeah. And then they put up a wall around. And then another thing, you put a wall up. You put another thing, you put a wall up. And then what happens is, and this is something I've been able to break in my life, is that everything is fucking a lie. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everything's a lie. Everything I know, everything about the world, everything that you know, and I'm not trying. Like I'm pretty crazy and out there, and I don't want to talk about like that, but like the reality is, like I don't believe any fucking thing.
Yeah.
Everything that I learned from my parents, everything that this fucking school system taught me, I don't even know that numbers are real.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Like you should question everything. I don't want to just fall into line. I know the way that I feel, and I know that the feeling and the emotion I'm after, that I have to fucking live, eat, breathe, to, eat and drink water to live. That I know to be a fact. Okay. And I have a mind to think, but I thought about this and look at some of these parents that don't chase their dreams because they buy into societal beliefs that puts these fucking coffee tables up for 38 years, 45 years, 67 years to my grandma pinching pennies for 3 cents. And I was like, here's the money to worry about. Like we live in this place where we never stop chasing our dreams, yet you tell people to chase their dreams, but you fucking gave up on your dreams.
Right.
And then I specifically with men around in the coaching program who have been able to amass success, often one of our intake questions is, when's the last time you wrote your goals down? And you got guys that are knocking down millions who never even wrote their goals down. Right. They don't even know how they made their money. Other than the fact that they stayed focused and worked and worked and worked, and they're so broke that all they have is their money.
Right.
And my job is to help them figure out how the money's great, but like to be woke up inside, to be able to be alive and on fucking fire. But I get so frustrated because I don't know how to live my life without chasing for greatness every day.
Yeah, that's true.
7 days a week I do this.
You do.
I sleep. I think about
being better every single day in every single way
I just don't know why you wouldn't want to live this way. And this is where it gets hard because there's two sides. I would never want my kids. I don't know what it's like to rest.
Yeah, you don't.
I don't know what it's like to rest.
You always say, like, when I'm able to just lay down on the couch or watch a movie with the kids, that you're like, I love that you guys can do that because I cannot just sit.
Because it's part of my dream is to be able to build a sanctuary of safety and peace to where that my family can actually feel something I never had, which is that.
Yeah.
Calmness.
Yep.
Because I have zero fucking calmness.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, I have all the calmness. I have all the peace because I'm completely good with me. And that's another topic and conversation, but
yeah. So the podcast topic is, how dare you have the audacity to tell your children to chase their dreams if you're not chasing your own? I agree with that. I do. I love it. I think there are exceptions to the rule. Like I said, there are parents, people, massive success stories where parents were never really able to chase their dreams, but their dream and their goal was to make their children the best freaking humans, athletes possible in the world. They're not just some slob parent that's just like, yeah, this is what you do. This is how life goes. Serena Williams' dad, Michael Jordan's mom. Like, yeah, did they chase their dreams and their goals? I don't know. Their dreams and their goals were to allow their children every single opportunity to become massively successful, right? So, I mean,
but I'm not talking to those people.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's different types of avenues that you could take it. You're talking average human. How dare you just sit there and yell at your kid, do as I say, not as I do type.
Because this podcast isn't for the kids. This podcast is for the mom and the dad that's quit chasing their dreams, quit chasing their goals. It didn't set them, and they go out and they cash their checks and they're fucking drinking at the bar.
Ask yourself, which parent are you? Are you the parent who is telling your kids, or I'm sure if they're out drinking and they're choosing different things, they're probably not even paying attention to their children. They're just know that your kids are probably going to be the product of exactly what you do. Do you want that for your kids? Most parents probably say not. No, I don't want my kid to know that it's this day and the most average thing you could do is crack open a beer at noon because the fucking football game is on. Do you want that for your kids? Is that the life that you want? You want them to go work and bust their ass and be fucking exhausted, pinching pennies at a 9 to 5? Do you want that for them? Do you want them to be lethargic and so lazy and overweight that they have a hard time tying their shoe?
The sad part is the majority of America is on that path.
Of course they are.
The gateway to mediocrity, right,
is abundant. The gateway to mediocrity is abundant. However, if you can break free from that and you can be a parent that is the standard, is chasing your dreams, is showing your kids that, you know what, I might not be the fucking best at this, and I might not even be great at it at first, but I'm not going to stop, and I'm not going to give up, because through that, your kids are going to just think, and they're going to look at you and be like, you know what? My mom and dad had the goal to go after this crazy dream, so why can't I?
And I think that's
the most important part.
That's the most important piece of what I wanted to say here, right? I don't give a shit if people, honestly, I may come off like an asshole by saying about the people being overweight, and the truth is probably great people. They really probably are. But as a society as a whole, like it is getting so complacent and so weak and so average. It's probably been for a long time. And I look back, and if you think about this, like every one of our ancestors have had to fucking fight for us, for our bloodlines to even be alive. Like you have more power running through your veins than you'll even give yourself fucking credit for, or even acknowledge the fact. Like nobody's here because their family members were weak. Not black people, not white people, not Chinese people, not whatever. Race doesn't matter. Color doesn't matter. Religion doesn't matter. Like every single human being came from somebody who fought and fought and fought and fought to get here. And they're fighting for a dream, and the dream was life.
I think that's the most important thing for us that I want to teach our children is that, kind of like you said, that you can be a warrior and you can fight for whatever the fuck you want it is in this life. And it doesn't matter what anybody else says, so long as that it's important to you. So long as whatever you like you said, you're the main character, is it important to you? Is that what you want in your life? And they're going to do it to some degree because they saw you and I doing it. You know, they're going to say, you know what? My dad wasn't great at it when he started, but now look at him. My mom wasn't great at it, but she didn't care, and there she goes, and she went for it.
In order to be great, you got to be good. In order to be good, you got to be bad. In order to be bad, you got to suck. In order to suck, you got to start. And I've said that for years, years upon years upon years. The same thing with alcohol, building a business, going to the gym, even a relationship for me, right? Like in order for me to be great, I'm great at it. I'm fucking killing a relationship, but I sucked. Like I had to literally just, Kendra, here's what it is. Yeah. Like I suck. I was a liar. I was a cheater. I was a piece of shit. I'm not a good person.
Like, you really laid it on thick, and I was like, well.
I'm like, but I said, and I suck at this. I don't know how to do this thing that we're going to do, but I'm going to figure it out. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create some standards and expectations around for myself. I will not lie. I will not cheat. I will not look, obviously won't go out with other girls. I don't go on pornography. I don't look at Instagram. Although sometimes I send, these little sex memes to you, but but I don't really do, like the standards were when we started, like, I'm going to make it about you, right? This is the expectation for me. The standards are this. I will show up. I will commit. I will do what I said I'm going to do. Not in this order. I will love you. I will be open and vulnerable to you when I don't feel good, which has happened for years. Okay, what are my goals? Well, I'm going to work on this. I'm going to learn how to hold your hand. I'm going to learn how to communicate with you. Like all shit that I had to learn. And what's the dream? To build a soul level, now multi-dimensional level fucking love and connection, which I didn't see at that point. It was just goal one, to not be a fucking cheater. Just just be committed. Just be committed to another human being. And then I recognized that the very thing I did with you was exactly what I do with my alcohol. And it's actually what I do with everything. It's like, oh shit, this actually works, right? It's not just one thing. It's just all these different things. But we opened up this podcast about how dare you tell your kids to chase your dreams. And I just want everyone to understand, I'm not coming off as an asshole. I just want people to understand, life is important. You are the main character in your life. Do not live this thing wasting any fucking time. And maybe there's people who say, well, dude, you're nuts. I don't want to live obsessed. I don't want to think about life around the clock. Cool. Just chase whatever it is for you. Don't be me. I'm not asking you to be me because it's uncomfortable in my skin and my head every fucking day. But I'm going to go on to do some massive shit in this world. Mark my words. So that's what I got for this episode. Is there anything you wanted to add?
No, I really like it. I thought that opened up. It's probably something I will continue to think about even when we're done with this podcast, because I feel like that opened up a lot of different pathways for me to take it. Awesome. I like it.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Comeback Couples Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you next week.
Peace.